Well, I've been working as a sculptor and like a contemporary artist here in Hong Kong for almost a decade. I do a range of different projects, usually object-based because my background's in sculpture. This is one of my studio assistants here. This is Ernesto. He's kind of joining us today. He's not very talkative, so I think he's going to be more of a silent participant in this conversation.
Well, I'm a jewellery designer based in London and Paris, and I have my own studio back there, but I guess originally I'm trained as an architect as well myself, so I worked with Richard Rogers for a year and a half in London, and it was between London and New York because we were working on the Ground Zero project back then. And then actually since then I've worked in fashion for 7 years as a women's wear designer, and I specialize in print and embroidery for Alexander McQueen and All Saints. So after 7 years in fashion, I mean, I've decided to start my own studio, and jewellery is the area that I've decided to sort of work in. And alongside, I mean, I do make sculptures and I do object-based items and sort of collaborations with other artists as well. So.
We're a duo, architect architect trained, and I suppose we're multidisciplinary, and I suppose network-wise we've worked on projects together, and I suppose we are curators, architects, writers. We also do film projects, and Industrial Forest behind us is one of our pieces, and we always just ask questions about the built environment. I think that's a major thing.
Practice both in Hong Kong and also New York, a bit in London as well.
Okay.
And so, but always our own company. So we've always been very actively involved, both in the arts and architecture. I think there's been some long-term obsessions about, so it's not, there's both the short-term obsessions per project or per thing that we're working on, and then there's sort of long-range ones that span decades almost.
I think it's time-specific for me. I don't know. Like, I get obsessive with projects we're doing. It could be just a month or a day, and you can't stop thinking about it, right? I think that, but then I think Eric and I are a bit different. I think Eric's more of a long-term, obsessive, steady, focused person, whereas I'm schizophrenically obsessive. I don't know if that makes sense.
I'm a very obsessive person. I'm obsessed with many things, and to the extent, because Adrian, you have your rabbit. I have an obsession with birds, exotic birds, and butterflies. My obsession with butterflies and flowers is one, and another is the art of craftsmanship.
Well, and the thing is, this guy, especially the other rabbit, is quite good about this. He is very excited by the buoyancy of mattress fabric. Occasionally, they will kind of go into this like spastic frenzy, and they'll jump around, and they'll just like spray poop and pee all over the sheets. It's like this, you know, like improvisational jazz. How like one person will play, the next person kind of responds to what they're playing, and you kind of have this composition that evolves. They mark. I mean, obviously, like other animals, they mark with their with their smells. And so what'll happen is Ernesto will kind of have a little like breakdown. He'll lose control and like spray pee in this corner. Michael will come out and be like, I don't like that this corner smells like your pee. So then he'll kind of pee over it, and so you kind of have this like, you know, it's like a game of exquisite corpse where they're like, you know, they're like kind of overlaying and playing with each other. So it's like collaborative painting.
Once I took a peacock on the Eurostar once. That was pretty crazy.
Alive?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't alive. It was basically my husband and I, we went on a short trip to Antwerp, and we were just wandering around the city where I came across an antique store, and inside was this sort of beautiful peacock just sort of hanging off the wall. So I fell in love with it. I said, oh my god, I need to have that peacock like in the studio. And so we didn't drive there, so we took the train there. So I thought to myself, okay, actually it's not that difficult to carry. It wasn't too heavy. And so we took the peacock on the train from Antwerp to Brussels, and then we went onto the Eurostar with when it went through that security sort of X-ray, I was just like praying that they're not going to stop me, because they're going to like see through this sort of giant cardboard box which we sort of wrapped around this peacock.
Oh, so it was wrapped. So I was saying that you just like you were just holding it by its tail.
But it was wrapped in the shape of a peacock, though, mind you, because like sort of went around it. And so when we got onto the Eurostar, the train manager was like, "What's that thing that you're carrying?" I was like, "It's a bird." And we almost got thrown off the train, but somehow we managed to stay on. On the subject of obsession, I picked a flower which I thought was closely associated with it. It's the poppy flower. I think the color red is. When I think of obsession, the first color I think about is the color red. And poppies have this sort of nice duality of beauty and beast as well, with this sort of addiction of opium, and I think it relates very well with the history of Hong Kong with, during the Opium War. And for me, that has a very nice sort of dynamic to the subject.
So we're thinking, because it's the Babaobox concept, and we're thinking maybe there's a way it could be a conceptual container of ideas or questions we have about the built environment through a unique box we would create. So actually physically a box that would house your sheets or textile or patterning mapping, and it could also house how your object maybe gets plugged in, or maybe there's a way we can mold it in a way that could hold it. But then the container itself could be dismantled. So the conceptual container concept of a vitrine that can transform. So obviously it would respond to what you're both making, but also we've been also quite obsessed about the idea of form and content, or exterior interior, and their relationships, and how we perceive the city from within, say a abstract concept within a building, or how we in the public view our architectural built environment. So we're exploring potentially these ideas of creating a box that can unfold, so it becomes something else.